When Claire's message appeared on my screen that evening, I didn't even flinch. "I need to be alone," it said, as if those 6 words could erase the years we had spent building a life together. The words felt calculated, gentle enough to sound innocent, but distant enough to cut deep. I stared at the message, reread it twice, and then placed my phone face down on the table. For a long time, I just sat there, listening to the hum of the refrigerator and the faint ticking of the wall clock, feeling something inside me go quiet. Claire had been distant for months. Late nights at work, mumbled explanations, the faint smell of someone else's cologne that she swore came from a coworker's hug. I wanted to believe her, I really did. But when trust begins to rot, it doesn't scream. It whispers, spreading slowly through every conversation, every touch, until everything feels staged. And by the time that text arrived, I realized I had been preparing myself for it all along. I didn't reply. Not right away. Instead, I walked to the mirror in our hallway, the one she had insisted on buying last spring. I caught my reflection and thought of the man I had become. Patient, quiet, predictable. I remembered when she used to say those were the things she loved about me. But people change. Or maybe they just outgrow the lies they once told. By midnight, I finally typed a simple response. "Take all the time you need." No questions. No pleading. Just acceptance, or at least what looked like it. She read it instantly, but there was no reply. That was the moment I knew this wasn't about space. It was about guilt, and she wanted a way out that didn't make her look like the villain. The next morning, I packed a small bag. Not for me, for her. A quiet gesture that would say everything she refused to admit out loud. I folded her favorite clothes, placed them neatly in a suitcase, and left it by the front door. When she came home that evening, she froze. Her eyes darted from the bag to me, confusion flashing across her face. "You said you needed to be alone," I said softly. "So I'm giving you exactly that." Her lips parted, but no words came out. I watched her realize that I wasn't angry. I was done. And that frightened her more than any argument ever could. Claire stood there for a moment, her hands trembling slightly as she stared at the suitcase. "Ethan," she said finally, her voice cracking just a bit. "I didn't mean it like that. I needed some space." "Space," I repeated quietly, almost to myself. "You've had space for months, Claire. You've been miles away even when you were sitting right next to me." She swallowed hard, her eyes darting to the floor. I could see her trying to gather the right words, the kind that sound heartfelt but carry no truth. I'd seen that performance before. The pauses, the careful sighs, the sad eyes meant to soften a blow. But I was past that stage. I didn't want apologies that came out of fear. I wanted honesty, and I knew she didn't have any left to give. "I just feel suffocated sometimes," she whispered. "It's not about you. It's about me trying to figure out who I am." I smiled faintly. "You mean figuring it out with someone else's help?" Her eyes shot up instantly. The flicker of panic in them told me everything I needed to know. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. And for the first time, I saw her truth without her saying a word. It wasn't loneliness she wanted. It was freedom, the kind she could only taste when she was away from me, wrapped in someone else's attention. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse her. I simply walked over to the coffee table and placed a small white envelope on it. Inside were printed photos, ones I'd quietly gathered over the past 2 weeks. Her car parked outside a familiar building. Her reflection in a cafe window with a man leaning too close. The same man I once shook hands with at her office party. She didn't touch the envelope. She didn't have to. Her face said it all. The realization that her secret world was no longer a secret. "I wasn't going to confront you," I said calmly. "But when you texted me that you needed to be alone, I realized maybe you should have exactly what you've been asking for." Her breathing grew uneven, a mix of guilt and fear. She tried to speak, but I raised a hand. "You don't owe me explanations anymore, Claire. I just hope the space you wanted gives you the clarity you were looking for." Then I turned and walked toward the door. For the first time in years, I didn't feel angry. I felt free. 2 days later, Claire texted again. Her message was shorter this time, more fragile than before. "Can we talk?" she wrote. I stared at the screen for a moment. then set the phone down without replying. I had spent years listening, understanding, forgiving. Now silence felt like justice. By the third day, she showed up at the apartment. I heard her before I saw her. Soft knocks, the faint tremor in her voice calling my name. I opened the door, not because I wanted her back, but because I needed to end the story properly. She stood there, hair disheveled, eyes red from crying. For the first time, she looked uncertain, like a woman who had lost control of the game. She thought she was winning. "I made a mistake," she whispered. "Ethan, please. I didn't know what I was doing." I let her speak. She rambled about confusion, loneliness, feeling unappreciated. Every cliché in the book. But beneath the surface, I could see what she really meant. She never thought I would walk away. She expected a man who would beg, bargain, or try to prove his worth. Instead, she got someone who finally understood his own. When she paused, I handed her a document from the counter. A printed copy of our prenuptial agreement. Her hands trembled as she flipped through it, scanning the highlighted sections. "What is this supposed to mean?" she asked. "It means," I said evenly, "that if you leave, everything you thought you'd walk away with, the house, the savings, the investments, stays with me. You get exactly what you came into this marriage with." Her face drained of color. "Ethan, you can't be serious." "I'm only following the terms you agreed to," I replied. "You wanted freedom. This is what it looks like." She sat down, covering her face, tears spilling through her fingers. For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her. But then I remembered the nights I waited up, the lies she told so easily, the way she made me feel small in my own home. Pity turned into peace. "I never wanted to hurt you," she sobbed. "I know," I said softly. "You just wanted more, and now you have it. Just not the way you imagined." When she left that night, she didn't look back. And as the door clicked shut, I felt something shift inside me. Not bitterness, not revenge, just closure. Sometimes, the quietest reply is the loudest truth.